Living your dream has never been more real, where every day is an escape from the hustle of the city to your own little paradise at Apollonia City. With development of a light industrial park covering the 200 acres of land and state-of-the-art infrastructure, some companies are already setting up. With over 100 acres also available for schools, shopping centers, parks and recreational activities, you can be sure that you're joining a dream community. So get a plot that suits you today, be it commercial, social, residential or light industrial, because your dream is only a phone call away. Give Apollonia City a call today to be part of Accra's new city. We can't wait to welcome you.
Hello, welcome to Moment of Truth. My name is Nadia Sean.
I am David.
I'm Matilda Asante Buodu.
So today we're going to be talking about for the love of our children. So we're really excited to be here, and we have our wonderful guest here, Kukua Apiakubi, who's going to tell us a little bit about herself, and then we're going to go on and start a program.
Hi, my name is Kukua Apiakubi. As I said, I'm a wife, a mother, and a child of God.
Amen. Amen. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
So today, as we talk about, we're going to talk about for the love of our children. We're just going to start with when we said our children, or when we say the love of our children, what does it mean? Each individual have a different way of showing their love. So, of course, as a panel of guests, we're just going to talk about our kids and how we should start loving them from the house, and how loving them from the house also portray towards the things that they do around us. So first, I'm going to ask Miss Matilda, as you talk about for the love of your children, what does it mean to you personally?
Well, that's, to me, I think it's showing concerns, giving them whatever that they ask you, or in the house or even outside, and also committing to them spiritually and others. That's showing them love in anything that they do.
Okay.
All right, so loving our kids it's a very big deal, because we are mere stewards of these little ones that God has given to us. And love is the greatest thing that Jesus shared for us. So if you are blessed to have a gift like that, you have a very big responsibility to make sure that all the needs of that kid is being provided, and you will support the kid in all diverse ways. Because looking at where we are now, they need us to show them much, much, much love as they are growing up.
I'm so glad we looked at the topic, because in February we talk about love, we talk about time, and sometimes we don't get to talk about our children or other people in our lives that we need to show love to. So it's good, because we're talking about month of February, and these children come out of the Valentine. The love that we have for our spouses
Right.
is what brings them here.
Yes.
So the same love that we are showing during Valentine for our spouses, I think we should show that same love for our
So
children.
true.
So today we're going to be talking about how we show that love. Remember to like and share on Facebook, and also you can watch us on YouTube.
That's true. And I think my co-host really made a good statement when he said the love that we show our spouse. You know, when it comes to Valentine's, I know your husband and wife will buy cards and they'll give their wife chocolate and flowers. What did you get for your kid? You know, that's a question you always have to think about. The kid is watching you, and you are doing everything for each other, but the child is an afterthought, like, oh, yeah, I didn't get you anything. But you know, when the child grow up, do you expect the child also to show you love? Because you haven't showed the child. You said you love the child, but how do you show that love? And I think that is really what our child is looking at. They are modeling what we said we are doing, or practice what you preach, because the child is going to learn from that. So that's important.
Sometimes you talk about bringing up a child, I think that's a way of showing love. Sometimes I think that the way we train them up, we don't really convey that love. What have you got to say about that? How should we train up the child in the way they should go, in the way that we are conveying our love and our consent through the training period?
Okay, so before I answered that, I just wanted to say something to what Auntie Alberta said. With me, every Valentine's Day, I buy a card. I write something from my heart to my kid.
Oh, really?
Yes,
that's
every
good.
year I do it.
That's good.
I put it maybe next to her bed or somewhere. And she'll go and think, oh, mommy, I love it. It's nothing much. It's just from dollar store, you know. So I'll just do that, and I'll just buy chocolate, add it to it. She feels on top of the world. Not because I feel she should learn, because I want her to know. Yeah. So, and with what you were saying, conveying love is not the things we physically give them. It is how we relate with them. So showing them love doesn't mean we shouldn't correct them. We love them by correcting them. Sometimes we forget how to show our kids the love that they need to know. So we show them love, buying things that they want, you know,
So many
trying to
toys.
please them.
So,
But
wrong
necessarily,
with patting
it
them
is
on the
not
back.
that. Showing them love is what? Trying to correct them, drawing them close to you, letting them be so free around you, you know? Involve them in your communications and everything. Let your kid feel that kind of relationship. There shouldn't be tension. There shouldn't be any kind of difficulties for your kid to approach you. That is how we show love. It's not about just physical things. I've gotten you that, I've gotten you this. That doesn't really tell the kid you love him or her. She needs you.
And that is
Or he needs
important.
you.
That is important. I think most times we are too busy.
Exactly.
We are too busy to be
busy.
parents.
Too busy.
We are, our checklist goes on, and our kids is like on the bottom of that
Exactly.
list. And we tell them, oh, but I gave you, I clothed you, I gave you place to sleep, I fed you today. What's your problem? And the child may need your time,
Yes.
you know, and we don't have time for our kids. And that is the gospel truth. So how much time do you spend with your kids? What quality time means to you, it may be different for your child. You could be staying in the same place. Your child may need just 5 minutes of your time. The child said, Mom, and you're like, I'm on the phone.
Right.
Mom, I'm on your phone.
Right.
It's like, when will you stop being on the
Right.
phone to listen to what, what the child has to say? So our child we have to show our love by our time. The quality time that you spend with the
Yeah.
kid, and that is an important part of showing your love to your child. So,
yeah, we have to show them time, as you are saying. Some of us, we entangled ourselves with so many worldly things. Like, let's say our work. Last 3 days, I was just speaking with a friend, the way she was shouting her kids, hurry up, let's go, hurry up. Because she was doing double, 2 jobs. So getting time for the kids, she doesn't have time. She doesn't have, so anytime she's just rushing the kids, get up, hurry up, and other thing. So I was, in the morning, she says the kids will be late because she just came from work and she has to take them to school. So she has to rush the kids, and the way she was talking to the kids, in fact, I was on the phone with her, I was not pleased with her. Right. So I told her that, why don't you drop one job or get a part-time and maintain one full job so that you can have time with the kids? Because I could see that the end result, the kids are suffering. What love are you showing them? Sleep with the kids, get up, ask them their needs, try to put their lunch bag and everything, dress them nicely before you take them to school. But here is the case, you are rushing, hey, put on your socks, hey, do this, do this. It's not love.
you know, I think in our society is somebody has to work nights. There's no way around it. America runs 24/7, and somebody have to work night. But I think it's really important, especially when your kids are young, if one person is at home to take care of the kids and the other person is working. But sometimes you have single parents, and there's no way around it. And so, you know, moment of truth, we're just trying to figure out ways in which we can help each other. So sometimes you have to ask for help. You know, you have to be honest with yourself. And sometimes we have to cut down some of our expenses. You know, our expenses is what is making us
We
work
have to
double.
live within our means.
Yes. You know, sometimes you have to say, you know what, I may have to let go of the Mercedes and drive a Honda. So that way I don't have to work 2 jobs.
Right.
You know, I may have to stop spending so much money to build a project until my
you.
kids are grown.
Yes.
Because when the kids, the fundamental is the grown up, the growing phase. You know, if you don't have time for them right now, I'm telling you, by the time they turn 14, they will not have time for you. You call them like, sorry, mom, click.
Right.
You know, they will not have time to
Because
spend
there
time.
hasn't been that
No,
relationship.
no,
Haven't
You know,
bonded.
no.
they don't know how
No.
to relate with you.
So we are talking about for the love of our children. For the love of our children, we have to change some lifestyle. We have to change some habits. We have to change some of the things that we are doing that is not working, because you're doing the same thing over and over. Just imagine you have 4 kids. You did it to the first one. It didn't work. The second one. Now you're on the 4th child. You gotta stop, because guess what? If you have done the same trend for 4 times, and it hasn't worked, that's
It's
called
about time to
madness. You gotta change. And sometimes you have to change some of the things that we are doing. Our personal choices may also affect our kids. So that's important.
And as we talk, think about it when it's Mother's Day or Father's Day, how you feel towards your parents. And then think about how you want your children to feel towards you. And as we are on Facebook, you can just write 1 or 2 things that you do to show love, and we will read it out. Yes, we're coming to you, Auntie Matilda.
Well, as we are saying, when you do education or some sociology, bringing up a child, it takes 3 stages. Like we have environment, the nature, and the nurturing. The environment is where, let's say, look at our community where you raised up your child. That will sometimes determine how the child will come out. And the nature that he or she was born with it, the genetics and other things come to play. Then the nurturing, being the mother or the father, the way you nurture the child. So with the environment, now we should look at our society, whatever is going on. The environment, how the society is pushing our kids. So what are we nurturing? So then how we go about it, how we will nurture our kids, that will bring the results. Sometimes comes from the parent. So with all these 3 comes to play, the nature, the environment, then the nurturing. When they are good, when all those 3 comes to play, then it means we are making good headway. But when, let's say, because of money, you put your kids anywhere, that's the environment. And their nature, you say, oh, this boy, he's stubborn. So you just leave them. And the nurturing, being the parent, you just sit down, look at them, hey, stop it, hey, stop it. And they're going about here and there. And I'm telling you, the end result, maybe it won't be a good news. So parents out there should listen.
And
so much for
thank
that.
you for that. And one thing somebody said, and it really makes sense, you say, are you preparing your child for life? Or are you preparing the road for your child? Or the road is being prepared for your... Like sometimes we prepare the road, but we are not teaching our children how to prepare the road. Because then when you are no longer there, the child is not able to function. Exactly. You know, you do everything for your child. Oh, the child wake up in the morning, you do this. Oh, Kwesi did that. Kofi, you know, everything you are doing for your child. You're not preparing your child for life. No. You have to train your child that the child needs to be able to do things for themselves. It is called independence. That doesn't mean that you are not a parent. It means that you're training your child to be independent of you. And if a parent has done their job, their child will be able to be at home, and you call your child and you said, have you done your homework? And you know they have done their homework because you have trained your child to take care of not only the home, but the schoolwork. Yeah. But if you're always doing stuff for them, making sure they do this, and you are not there, they will not do it. Yes. And you come home, the house is messy, their room is messy, and the homework is not done because mommy is not there.
And just like
Daddy
Auntie
is not there.
Matilda was talking about bashing our children, that's what happens when we don't have time. You can't sit and wait and calmly wait for them to maybe put on their own socks and you
exactly.
Them.
Exactly.
Because you're in a rush, you end up doing everything and then you're leaving. So it gets to a time when the child should be able to do things for themselves and cannot do anything because we've not had time for them. So this also plays into having time for them. Sometimes we think we are pampering them by doing
Right.
everything for them,
Exactly.
but we are really not helping them.
Right.
For the love of our
For
children.
the love of our children.
For the love of our children means that you need to take a time out. Sometimes parents, you need to give yourself a time out.
Right.
You ask your child to do something, you haven't done it. You say second time, third time. You need to give yourself time out because then you're going to start yelling and screaming at them and it still will not get done. Time out, come back again and find a different strategy in which to tell them how to do the same thing that you have been talking about it for the past 2 years.
Right. To add to what Auntie Matilda said, looking at our communities and where we find ourselves, and plus what you said. So we come here and we're trying to work these 2 jobs to put up buildings in Ghana
Funeral
where
homes.
we pay huge sums of money for people to sleep there
Yes.
for us. And we get a little apartment that our kids do not even have space.
No, they don't have their own
So
bedroom.
we went for
Nope.
Easter convention when I was in Indiana, and the pastor was preaching, and he said, whenever he's being moved to a different place, he's been transferred, what he does is he looks around for good counties with good schools.
Yeah.
Then he will add something, a little bit of something to how much they were paying for his place where he was living to get a better place so that his kids can get good schools.
Yeah.
But here, we refuse. Oh, even Abisim SDA, LA Prime, I was there. So what is it? My child is in the United States, so definitely my child will, whatever school that kid has, will support. But sometimes, the teachers will do their best. The environment, the kind of friends that your kids will relate with, the peer pressure and everything. So sometimes we need to look into these things and invest more there because I'm here. And if I have kids, I don't know when they would like to go home and even if they will leave there.
No.
You understand? So I go and put up 6-story or
So
2-story.
everybody know you also came.
Yes,
That's what it
that
is.
is one thing we
That's
think,
one
but
thing.
It's not
it doesn't
necessary.
really matter. Because
No.
you'll be here and they'll be fighting over the property
I tell
whilst you
you.
are even alive. So why won't you get a better life, a good place, a good environment, good area for your kid? You have the best schools, have best friends, you know, peers that will have a positive influence. To go and stay in a mix of, you know, then he or she will have some relationship that is questionable and you didn't know where. But you don't know what you also did wrong.
Right.
Thinking about something to do at home and buy all the kente and the laces and all that.
For the
You
love
know,
of our children,
so
we need to do better.
Exactly.
Yes, we need to do better.
Right.
You know, there were times when we were growing up, parents would say, "Oh, I won't take this because of my children.
Exactly.
I will sacrifice this because of
Exactly.
our children." Are we still in that age where we are willing to sacrifice for our children, or have we thrown those values away? Let's think about it again. What are we sacrificing for the love of our children?
I think right now our mindset is if I make more money, I'm buying materialistic stuff for our kids.
Right.
You know, and my son called me out on something and I thought it was funny. So Parents Teachers Association, you know, I said, I'm part of Parents Teachers Association. He said, Mom, you are not. I said, I pay dues. He said, but you don't go to the
are not.
meetings. I said, so yeah, you can pay dues. You can be part of PTA, but you don't go to the meetings and you don't volunteer.
You don't do
You're
your
not part of it.
responsibility.
You know,
Exactly.
so we have to do more than just throw money into something and say, well, I'm doing my part. What other part are you doing? Are you spending quality time? When they ask for volunteers at school, do you even show up at all? Because you only show up when your child is in trouble.
Even
And
that
they,
some don't show up.
Oh.
Even when they're in
Some
trouble,
don't
they
show
say,
up.
I'm at work, so I can't
Right.
deal with it.
Yes.
so for the love of our children means that, you know, you don't, the teachers have to know you.
Yes.
You know, your kids have to know that if they call you, I could be
There's
2 miles
a
away.
Reliable.
Yes, and they
Exactly.
call me. The child have to know that when they call mom or dad, dad is going to be on the phone. And if something is wrong, dad is going to come or mom is going to
Exactly.
come. The child needs to have that confidence that you will be there. But when they say they're going to call their parents and say whatever,
Yes.
because they know that you're not going to show up.
It is happening.
And they know it.
Yeah,
They know
it
you
is
don't
happening.
care. They know
They
you don't
don't
care, so
care.
they don't care either.
Yes.
Yes.
And that is the scary part. And we don't want our kids in our community, we don't want our kids to feel that way or be in that position. So that's why we are talking about it. That is why we are talking about it on Moment of Truth. For the love of our children, we need to do better.
And if you are a parent and you are not doing some things right, and they call you to your kid's school and you go and yell and do all that, and you knowing very well that you are not doing something right, I feel that that parent, do not have the right to treat the kid that way. You need to sit down and assess yourself really well before you can deal with your kid. Because if you don't have time for your kid, you don't even know what your kid wore to school.
Right.
Because you are out, that is out. There should always be one person at home.
In the house.
You understand? So when the child is coming to school, at least
Somebody has sinned.
assess the kid. The hair is combed. At least there is a little bit of Vaseline on the lips.
They've brushed their
Exactly.
teeth. Washed with a way.
Took
Not with all of
Took
this.
a
A bath in
So
the
maybe they
morning.
didn't even take
If
a bath.
even they
but
didn't
at
take
least
a
wash
bath,
your face.
wash their
You don't have all
face.
the drool dried up on your
Really?
face.
Kids come to school with drool in their
Yes.
face?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. For the love of our children. I'm sitting here like, what?
Yes.
Are you serious?
We should be able to, at least if you won't be there,
Wow.
select what your child should wear.
Oh, of course.
Of course.
The night before, it doesn't, you know,
night
you
before.
put the clothes down so the child know this is what you're going to be wearing. And you look at the weather. So if the weather changes, make sure you dress appropriately.
Yes.
Because our weather changes so often.
A
You
kid
know.
can come to school with that jacket,
Wow.
and it's really, really cold.
Cold.
And you won't understand why. You understand?
Well, the parents, what I would say, we need to spend time, quality time with kids. Even being a teacher, those kids that they can come to you is spending good time with your kids.
Yeah.
Calling them, show them love, ask them. So being a parent, whatever, anytime your kids come from school, have time with them.
Yes.
What did you learn? What sort of friends did you meet? What did you talk about? And they will open up and tell you, make your children, make them your friends. But when they come and you are on phone, because you are busy going, put your things down, I'm going to work and I'll get back to you, I'll buy you McDonald's. Love is not about materialistic things. Buying them things, stuff and other things, it will get to a time you can't buy them. You can't afford those things.
Right.
And they will, whatever that you started, that will germinate into something that big that you can't solve it.
Right.
But when you show them love, when you talk to them, when the time comes, then you don't have it, when you're able to sit them down, because they know that when mommy had it, she will give.
Right.
She talks to me nicely. So I know that, no, now mommy is in difficult time. So she will listen, or he will listen. But let's say you always buying it, dumping it on him. A time you will come, you talk to him, he say, no, then I have to find my way out because I'm used to those things. But let them know the situation at hand first. Even if you have it now, don't let them know that you have it too much.
Exactly.
Not everything that they will ask that you have to buy. Sometimes tell them, you know, it's not easy. Explain situations to them. When you're in difficult time, explain it to your kids. I remember my mom used to say that sometimes in Ghana we call it a pay stub. She will show us, she says, look at it. This is what I make at the end of the month. And look at you. And we'll go like, Mommy, it's okay. So let them know the situation at hand, rather than buying them, working yourself too much and
So
dumping
crazy.
buying things and dumping it on them.
Especially with electronics.
Yeah.
You know, kids like second grade, first grade, they have phones, they have things. We don't even have time to see what they are watching. And it's
Right.
scary. It is scary.
Yep.
And they tell you some of the things.
So
that
somebody
happens.
is training your kid for you, you have no clue.
Yep.
It's true.
And it's
You
actually
have no idea.
affecting their eyesight. It's also affecting their
Their
body
neck
structure.
structure.
It's because, when I see a kid and they are like this, and I'm like, please sit up. Because by the end of the day, your neck is hurting,
Chest
your
neck,
back
right?
is hurting,
Oh my
your hands are
God, it's
hurting. We are literally developing kids that is going to have medical issues for a
Oh, yes.
lifetime. And we think we are being, sometimes people make you feel guilty because they're like, oh, your child is in middle school and they don't have a phone, and you're like, yeah, my child doesn't need a phone. My child doesn't need, in our society today, there are certain things that we say our kids need, and there are certain things that our kids want.
Right.
You have to figure out as a parent what is a need and what is a want.
Right.
Your child may want a lot of things, but they don't need it.
Exactly.
I don't buy video games. I honestly don't think a video game is a need.
Right.
I don't.
Yes.
So I don't buy. As a parent, you can come to my house and there's no video game. But I'll buy a laptop,
Right.
because my child needed to do his homework. Because if I'm on my laptop, I don't want my child to come and pick up my laptop to do his homework.
Right.
So I'll buy a laptop. A tablet, my child doesn't need a tablet. I'm not going to buy you a tablet. So there are certain things that the child doesn't need.
Right.
The child wants.
Right.
But as a parent, you have to figure out what is a need and what is a want. And for the love of your child, do what is right for the child. And don't feel guilty, because you are training your child in the way they should grow. And when they grow up, they will not depart from it. But if you buy them all junk, believe me, those junk is going to pile up. Yes, it's going to pile up in their rooms. All those junks are there.
Right.
They don't need it. They really don't need it.
So
For
true.
the life of our children. I want to ask one more thing. For the love of our children, what do you think about adults talking within earshot of children? Like, it looks like nowadays, adults don't know what children should be hearing, seeing, what they should not. So they come to school and they tell you they shouldn't have heard that, or they shouldn't have seen that. What can we say about that? Talking about loving our children enough to make sure what they hear is censored.
So are you talking about home or school?
Home, like what they bring from home, the things they hear, see parents do, hear parents say to each other. Just as an example, I have some children who come in the morning. Guess what? I was taken aback when the whole day all he was shouting was the word. From morning till he went home. And I had to send a message home. It means that it's a new vocabulary he learned.
Right.
But that week, he brought in other words.
Right.
And finally, you find out it was dad calling mom dad. And he coming to school and call all of us
Right.
that. So what are some of, how do we make sure that they don't hear and then adult conversation, they don't hear adult conversation and come back and repeat it? Is that love when you just let them hear everything? Everything? Like, how are we supposed to manage that, parents?
So as a parent, I think you have time that you guys go inside. So whatever it is, you can hold it till your kid is out of the way. There are some positive things that we can show. In our community, we try to be too, spiritual, too. So some people cannot even kiss their husbands right in front of their kids. And I believe that if you do all these things are positive. I'm not saying that there are some kids that will go to school and maybe do it, but your kid will understand that, okay, I am a mom and that is my husband.
Right.
But if we have misunderstanding, we believe in ourselves to be Christians. We are brought up in a way that we should respect our spouse, and our husband should love us. So if I respect my husband, I cannot disrespect him in front of my child,
Right.
because I don't want her to emulate what I'm doing. So whatever it is, when she goes to bed, we will deal with it. So there are some things that we need to hold on. Just ask God for patience to deal with it. And when your child is away from your side, you and daddy can talk about it and pour everything out on him or her. It is better, it is safe. Because if a child sees you fighting, arguing all the time in their face, that child loses confidence, loses trust, and it affects affects them emotionally, psychologically, everywhere they go. So we should, I mean, the kid that was behaving that way, that kid was upset.
And
Seeing
it's not pouring it on
and
others.
pouring it on everyone. Not because he thought the word was fancy. No, what he saw, he didn't like it. So he
must
came
thought
from
that
home.
all these people should get that too.
Yeah. So he exactly.
Yep.
So he came to school very upset because he's sad, depressed, emotional, and you don't know. So he just for everything. Everything you do piss him off or make him upset or something.
Okay, there is one thing that you say children learn by doing. Sometimes they imitate. So whatever, and even the Bible says we should let our speech be seasoned with salt, so that we may know how to answer everyone. So once you are in the house, sometimes, you know, our community, the way some people speak, especially when they're in the house or something. But being a parent, we should let our talk, our speech be seasoned with salt. We should know when, where, and how we will talk. As our Mrs. was saying, sometimes you can just get indoor with your husband. Say whatever that you want to say. And how you will say it. Sometimes we shouldn't be too loud.
Sometimes or all the time.
We have to use our indoor voice.
You might think that you are indoor, but the
Your voice
kids
is outside.
Yes, because the way you are saying it, and as I said, children learn by doing.
Right.
Whatever signs that you'll be doing it in the house, or whatever words that you'll be saying it, they'll go out and do the same thing outside. So being parent, please, we should let our speech be seasoned with salt. We should know even our gestures.
Right.
And
They know. They know.
Everything.
Right.
We should, put up good behavior in the house so that they will not take it
To add to what I just said, so we watched a movie and the couple keep fighting. The mom was always beating the wife.
Wife.
And my daughter was like, how can they be like my mom and dad? Can't they be happy?
You see?
That is what she said. And my husband turned and looked at me. I'm like, she's watching.
Yes.
That is what I said.
Yeah.
She's watching. She was so upset. And I'm like, they are acting. It's not real. I realized that. So whatever I am doing or we are doing, this girl is watching. She knows we are happy. She knows that somebody is fighting and it's not right. And if it should change or turn around, or we thought that she's a little girl and she knew nothing, no, she has really studied. And she can tell the difference between a peaceful home or a happy home or a happy marriage to the other. So it's very important where we should know the right time to. I mean, I'm not saying that we don't get it on. I mean,
But you know how.
You know how and when. And
Like taking our community, let's say in Ghana, when you go to, excuse me to say, our Ga people, those that they go and see and other things, you know the way they talk. So their kids also what? They imitate, they pick it, they emulate it. So let's say even if we were being trained over there like that, please, we should try and as much as
season it.
Season
I like
it.
that word.
And put up good behavior so that our kids will learn. Even though wherever that we had our training or something, there's always a room for change. So we should change some of our bad habits and other things.
You know, when I was young, I remember, I've been in this country for a long time. I remember when a child said, they say a child is throwing a tantrum, and the child is like falling on the floor and screaming and yelling. I used to feel so bad for the parent, like, oh my goodness, this is so embarrassing. Like, I feel embarrassed for the parent. And I'm sitting down there and I'm just praying for the parent. Please, God, help. But when I grew up, I realized something, that the parent is not being good parent. Because if your child does not know how to behave and they are throwing a tantrum and you cannot help them at that stage in their life, guess what? You are setting the child up for failure.
Yeah.
So I started feeling bad for the child as I started growing up. But when I was young, I was feeling bad for the parents. But when I got older, I'm like, that parent should know better. That parent should know better and should be able to teach the child and say, you know what, this behavior is unacceptable.
Right.
This behavior will not get you anywhere.
Yes.
This behavior, I will personally not tolerate. So you have to stop it. And the child will listen. But if you tolerate the behavior, the child will continue. Because the child knows if they throw a tantrum, they will get what they want.
Yeah.
So the child is conditioning you as a parent to react. And so the more you react to the nonsense, the child will put, the child will do the nonsense. And I sit back and I said, wow, it is a lot raising children in America. So you have to learn very quickly that certain things you just have to, the child have to know, mom and dad, it will not fly. If your child, if other parents are taking or they deal with it, me, not my household, I don't deal with it.
Right.
And so the child have to know. So those are the important stuff to learn.
And we should start teaching them whilst they are young.
Of course.
Yeah.
At their tender age. Don't wait. So they get to certain stage, then you say no.
It's going to break that stick.
Yes.
I remember there's this adage in local whatever that says that when a tree is young and it's bent over, you can help
So straighten it up.
But when it is so high, bent over, you try it, it will just break.
Yep.
Yeah, to break.
So the earlier we do it, the better. Let's talk about our schools. What would you like to say about our schools? First of all, before we go into the love of our children at school.
So coming to our schools, now a lot of kids are depressed. And a lot of kids are so worried. You wouldn't know why. And it's becoming very scary. Instead. And now with our schools, our kids have a lot of room and control. So when it comes to school, it's a lot. There isn't much discipline or any action, or any consequences for any wrongdoing. And the style here, I mean, most of us studied back home, grew up there, you know how you get it when you're wrong. But here it's not like that. So let me take it for instance. Davy, you are my student. I was teaching and you were playing. I come around and I give out something to all the kids and leave you out. You straighten up. The next minute, I have to say thank you. Make you feel good. So we don't use negative words to, like before, even when a kid does something and it's wrong, write or add or do anything and it's wrong. Like 1 + 1, the kid writes 11. Writes 11. Oh yeah, you're right. But so how can a child be right and you can add back? So if I'm right and it's bad, the next time I can still do the same thing. You understand? And it is affecting them in so many ways. Now there's you don't say anything negative. So Matilda is my friend. I tell her, she's fine. Hurting her, she's emotionally depressed, and I want to kill myself. Just because of that. You hear that? And a kid can just say, I want to kill myself. But before at home, they will tell you that you have no flesh on your body.
And you just laugh.
And you just laugh. You understand. So now it's very, very difficult for our kids, what they see on social media. Like Auntie said, a kid has a phone, your kid do not have. And he or she feels left out. And that is being his or her burden, thinking about it. He or she is. It's a lot. It's a lot. Suicide cases being our things now is on the rise. And it's serious.
One of our guests asked, is it a setup for young adults who may not be parents to advise or call parents out on their action towards their children? And what would be the best approach, knowing that the parents might not be very understanding? You know, and I think it's when, like you were talking about this suicide issue and all those things, sometimes the parent don't have time to have a conversation with their child. And so if somebody come and tell me my child, like even if my child brought phone to church and a teacher took the phone and gave it to me, I'll say thank you, and I'll go put the phone away. The person is doing something and see that my child is what do you call it? It's causing, causing some chaos. And so the person is helping. Will I be offended as a parent? No.
No.
You know, but sometimes some parents feel offended.
Yes.
Why are you disciplining my child? Why are you doing this? But no, as a
You used
parent,
to take a community. You used to take a whole village.
So,
It's not
Raise
like
up a
that.
child.
yeah,
No, it's
so
not like
if
that.
you know, if a young adult sees something, please help.
Okay, in Church of
Please.
Pentecost, we allow you to speak. Okay, it's still a community. Go ahead, respectfully tell the
Tell the
parents
person.
what is going on and what you think will help. This community is different. We still believe that in the Bible, just the same way everyone works together, we work together. So right here is okay. I don't know about out there, but I can say
But
right
even
here is
right
okay.
here, you should know how to
Yes,
approach
yes,
the
that
person.
is what I was
respectfully.
respectfully.
Take your time. At least sometimes, you know, when in the Bible, when Nathan was going to David, he didn't go like, King, you are like this, you are like that, you are like this. Like you say, hey, guys, take him away.
Of course.
But look at the way he started it
With the story.
with a story and other things. So it got to a time, then David just has to bow down in shame and just accept it and say, I'm sorry. And he went on his knee to pray. So know how to approach any problem. Don't say, when we came, we were saying, when, let's say, something happened, the way I will approach it will be different.
Yes.
Your solution might not work in my situation. So know how. That's to deal with any individual. Like our case, especially in the school, you have to know their temperament, so many things, so that you know how to deal with each of them. Don't say, this kid is like that, so I will do the same thing. No.
And pray over it.
Yes.
Really pray over it. Because if God has given you a foresight to see something in a child's character, maybe you are the only one who's seeing something that will help the child. So don't ignore it, pray over it, and find ways and means that you can help that child. Because that child is also a child of God. And you don't want that child not to get the blessings and also fulfill the goals that God has for that child. So please, if you are watching and you are seeing something in our kids, please help the parents out. Because every parent needs help. And parents, please, for the love of your child, when somebody says something, take a deep breath, just pause and listen and go pray over it. The person is not trying to attack, the person is trying to help. So just listen, pray over it, and let God guide you in that area.
In the schools, though, let us add this. So that's why I said in our church, you can approach the parents respectfully and let them know what's going on. But in our schools, you can only talk to the head. So, for example, you are a parent or you are a young person and you see something happening with another child, you are not supposed to go talk to the other parents. It's seen as though you are, it's called something, you're initiating something. But you're supposed to talk to the principal and let the principal deal with it. So you are not supposed to approach the other parent or even try to correct another person's child. What is going to happen is they're going to say you've harassed the child or you've harassed the parent. So they'll call the police, and because you're much older than the child, it will go as a harassment against you. So outside of the church, you go talk to a principal. But in the church, if you feel led to talk to the parent, do. If you feel led to talk to an older person, a pastor, a deacon, a deaconess to deal with it, fine. But outside in the schools, you don't do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and our society is growing in a way that it is about protecting our kids. There are some people out there who have bad intentions. And so we have to be very careful and very cognizant. If somebody says something bad about your kids, also listen to your child's point of view. My child will say, Mom, don't you listen when I'm telling you stuff? Our children are growing and they know right from wrong. As a parent, you need to teach your children right from wrong. So when somebody said they did something, take your time and talk to your child. When you go home, listen, let your child explain what happened.
Yes.
Because when your child explains what happened, maybe Maybe your child may not be at fault. Maybe.
Maybe
But
the person didn't see
Maybe
all
all
of
the
it,
yes.
just saw part of it.
Yes, but give your child the benefit of the truth. But most importantly, just give your child the opportunity to express themselves.
That's good.
That shows
Yeah,
love.
that shows love.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't just jump into conclusion anything because the teacher or somebody is saying so. You just accept it like that, and you start cursing your child or something. Have a listening ear to your child.
Yeah.
Sit him or her down. Ask him whatever went on, and what solution he thinks first. Then, based on that, you also give him or her what you also think. We shouldn't always think for the case. We shouldn't think always, I think you should do this, I think you should do that. No. Ask them their view. Let them also think for themselves. Sometimes give them some problem solving so that they will solve it, they will come out. So that you see what your case are capable of. Don't always say, I think you should do it this way, I think you should do it that way. And I think when we do it that way, it will help.
What are some ways parents can be involved in our
Schools.
What
It
are
is
some ways?
important.
I think there are so many ways, but can you give us some?
Yeah, there's so many ways to get involved. Like your child told you, PTA. PTAs are very important. Sometimes we neglect it. Oh, Diana Mokoka, what are they going to talk about? They're going to waste my time. I don't even understand them when they speak. You know, sometimes we say that. Sometimes I go, I'm like, I didn't even hear a thing, but I was there.
Yeah.
You understand? And sometimes, know what she's doing. Go to lunch, go to recess with them, see how they play, kids they play with. When they sit on their table, they think about. I remember one time, my husband went for lunch with my daughter, and a kid came to sit and ask, "Are you Sarida's dad?" Like, yes. Then the kid went. When they went to the class, I have a crush on your dad. I was like,
Hey.
yes. And my daughter said, my dad has a wife. My mom is there. I'll ask him, I'll find out. You see, there are some things they talk about, and my child came home and told me. I didn't believe it until he went again. And the kid apparently went to my husband and asked. You understand? So sometimes you don't even know the kind of things that they
Talk about, yeah.
and they have simple things like coffee with the administration. So if you have any view, any ideas, you can just go in, email the teachers. What can I do to help? Okay, today we're doing this. We need people to come in to do that. They make go, support. Let them know that you are in your children's life, not like only when you are called in. When they are,
Absentee
yes, they are in trouble. They need people. They need volunteers to go on a field trip. Make time. Go. Visit them. Let them know you. Let them see that you are concerned. You understand? These are some of the things that we can do as parents for our child or our children to feel comfortable and accepted in school. And give teachers kind of control. It is really positive. Because they know that they don't have any control. Email the teacher. Discipline my child when they need a ride. Or tell my child that you are calling me. I'm talking to mommy.
You'd be surprised how those children just
It's
go in line. Because they
360.
know there is a connection between the
360.
parents.
Yeah.
360.
They know.
But if you look unconcerned, you don't even know your child's teacher's email address or number.
Let me tell you something that happened. I went to the post office one time, and one of the older children said, "Hey, how are you?" I said, "I'm fine." And then she said, "Oh, meet my mom." I said, "Yeah, I see her picking you up sometimes. Hello, mom." And you know what the post office workers did? Because it was almost time for school to be over. They were like, but that wasn't my student. They were wondering if parent didn't know the teacher, right? Like the child is not introducing the teacher.
Right.
That shouldn't be the case.
That shouldn't be
You
the
should
case.
know.
Yeah.
And that is important. I think, the first day of school, if you can, You should, introduce yourself to the teachers, and then when they have open house of,
Yes.
they have the
Parent-teacher
conference.
Yeah.
Please, it doesn't matter what day it is. Please show up, because that's when the teachers get to meet you as a parent, and that is when you get to hear them, their philosophy of teaching, and also they get to know you as a parent, and that's when you interact with them, get your phone number and everything. Those parent-teachers conference is important. Most parents don't even show up. You go there and you'll be like, oh, maybe 3 or 4 parents. And you wonder, how many kids are in the classroom? There are like 20, 30, and it's only like 3 or 4 parents that show up. So as a concerned parent, for the love of that child, you need to be those places. You need to make it, you need to put it on your calendar and show up and be part of the process of educating your child.
You know, our kids, sometimes they are smart, very smart. So parents must know their teachers.
Right.
And even the school authority. If possible, you must know them. Because the kids, even when you're in the house, they will go and do this, and let's out on her, she will come, Daddy, Mommy says I. So you too, what did you do? But in this case, you don't know the teachers.
Right.
So how would you be able to find out what the kid did in the school?
Right.
Of course. Yeah.
So the kid will be playing mind game with you.
Oh, yes.
Right.
And they do.
Right.
And
They
do.
really do. Our kids are very smart. Not sometimes, they are very smart. My son will say he did his homework. So then I went to parent-teachers conference and she said, he has not submitted his homework. And I'm looking at him, he said, oh, the computer system was down.
You see?
I said, when and how? Right in front, I said, he was lying. They just said, I know. But in class, he does everything. But homework, he didn't do it. And when he was at home, he kept telling me, Mommy, I've done my homework. Mommy, I've done my homework. So here I'm believing him. But when I went to the teachers' conference, every teacher said the same thing. He never submitted his homework. I said, now please, I tell the teachers, if he doesn't submit his homework, call me. Because then I will deal with him.
So imagine.
Yeah.
If you didn't know them, you didn't go. You didn't meet them.
No,
Yeah.
no.
So
You wouldn't know.
No,
It's
you
good
wouldn't know.
to
You
know
wouldn't know.
your children progress in school. Don't just relax. Say, oh, I'm buying her this. As we were talking about the electronics, oh, she's doing her homework. She's doing it. Oh, Kofi, are you doing your homework? Then you just pass by. Make sure
You look at it
you look at it.
and see if it's submitted. I have learned that. I'm like, okay, bring the what have you
Look
done
at
this
it.
week? Let me see if it's submitted.
Yes.
And tell me about it. What grade did you get on it? I want to see the report. When the report card comes, I'm like, yeah, we could do better.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I'm not the parent who said, oh, you have all B's, so it's okay. No.
No.
If you have
Yeah.
A's and B's, you could still get improvement.
Exactly.
So there's always room for improvement.
Exactly.
And the teachers also run in a space.
Right.
Things, yes, some behaviors or comments. We talk about those comments.
Yes.
I don't look at just the grade. I look at some of the
Yes.
comments, because the comment is also important.
Yes.
It is.
You know, for the love of our children, we need to do better.
I would
We
even
need to do
ask.
better.
So, what about behavior?
Yes.
Oh, she's very good. She's respectful. She plays. But sometimes that is what I'm interested in.
You want to hear the bad?
Oh,
You
yes.
want to hear the bad.
I want to hear
That's
that
a good
because
point.
Yes.
sometimes the teachers are not willing to tell you
Yes.
Yes.
for the truth. They will not tell
Because
you.
everybody's just suing for everything.
Exactly.
You
So,
said I was
because I
depressed because you told me my child
Right.
doesn't do homework.
so
My child is
I
this.
push for it. I ask, oh, she's nice. And you know that here, even if they're going to give you bad news,
They start with the good.
I want to tell you that your kid is so good. We love him. We love her. Then they'll bring the other
Yes.
news. So I ask, what about behavior? Oh, she's good. She's that bad. Sometimes she needs some reminders. And blah, blah, blah. And when we go home, talk about it. You understand? But you get to know when you meet them, their progress, their resources we can use to help these little ones.
Yes.
They will
Yes.
give you resources, even if you don't have them. If you don't have the money for it, they can provide.
Yes.
They can give you website. They can
Yes.
give you all the support.
Yeah.
You will be sitting and working and spending money on the things that
You
They are
you
not
shouldn't have
shouldn't
to
be.
buy.
You shouldn't
even
be.
buy.
if you
You
had
shouldn't.
just gone to
And
talk
ask.
to
Yes.
them, they'll give you all that you need.
Yes.
They'll give you websites. They'll give you papers. They'll give you, these kids play play games, and they are learning. They give you all those things. And you go home and you have something to work on. And now they don't give much homework. So you can just go to dollar store, buy these small books, sit with them for 10 minutes just to work. You're working together with your kid. It's even spending time. That was
Building
how
connection.
we were brought up.
Yes.
We used to do homework with our parents, with cane and everything down there. Yeah, there's nothing like that.
But
Because
still, we have to try our
Me,
best.
I always tell them that I believe in the Bible. The Bible says, fed the
the
rod,
rod,
spoil
spoil
the
the
child.
child.
I believe truly in it. Because without it, I don't know what would have come out of some of us. You understand? So, in as much as I love my kid, I will not spare her or him when something,
Need to be done.
then you will just bring that kid back to you and you
close.
explain. Sometimes you explain before
Of course.
you do
Yes,
your action.
action.
Or you do the action before the explanation.
I like the word action.
Yeah,
Yes.
either way, there should be.
There's consequences.
There should be consequences.
And that's what I tell my son. There's always a consequence.
There should be.
There's anything you do. There's positive consequences and there's negative consequences. And your goal is to make sure that you are learning. You have to teach your child any actions. There's equal reaction. So whatever they are doing, if they want a positive reaction, then they need to do the right thing. And you need to make sure that as our children is growing, by the time they get to high school, if you have not taught them right from wrong, I'm telling you, when they get to high school, you have no control over them at all.
No.
So from now to middle school, you have a little bit of a leeway. But I'm telling you, when they get to freshman, even when they're in middle school, they are now taller than us.
I'm telling
So
you.
just imagine
I'm
by the
telling
time
you,
they get
it's
to
very
ninth
hard.
grade, and their mind is so ahead of us.
Yes.
And we cannot compete with them on that level when it comes to technology. So don't even do it. We cannot compete with them when it comes to language, when it comes especially to the English language. Speak to them in your own words and let them know this is what mommy or daddy feel about it. Don't try to compete with them on the level ground where they have the upper level.
Right.
So then when you feel inadequate as a parent, and that is not what God wants you to do. God wants you to train that gift that He has given you for success. Right. So, it requires library time for you yourself. Sometimes we need to spend time learning some new skills. As a parent, we need to pick up that psychology book and pick up the Bible and say, God, please help me. The psychology of trying to figure out my son or my daughter, because
so true.
we need help. You cannot do it the way our parents did it. Our parents tried their best. Now it is your turn for you to try your best, and we all need help.
And also with our school, how the parents can get in, sometimes too, we should appreciate the kids with their school, homeworks and other things. They are great. When
It's good.
Yes. When it comes out, just look at it. Oh, this place you did well, but you can do better.
Right.
Next time, when you do this, I'm going to reward you this.
Right.
Give them some words
Oh, yes.
that it will push them. But we shouldn't always look at their weakness. Sometimes we should also look at their good side and praise them and appreciate it. And sometimes too, praising them, it helps.
Because it motivates them.
It motivates them. When mommy will do this for me. Mommy says I'm doing good. Mommy says I'm doing that. Even when they clean up in the house, you appreciate it. Wow, you did that. Give me high five. Just give me a blow. Fix it. You see, it motivates them. Next time, then they will continue doing good things. So we shouldn't always be looking at the negative side. We should also look at their positive side and learn to praise them as well.
Okay.
So sometimes, like one time, and so I was told that my kid doesn't like to write at length. She'll just do some 2 sentences, and they expect her to do more. So I said, Mommy, this time I wrote a lot. When it comes to, you'll be proud of me. Like, okay, when you do, I'll do something. She brought them like, let's go to Chick-fil-A. She was happy. Let's go to dollar store. Pick something. Just dollar store. One thing. She's so excited. Anything. I'm like, Then not candy, but anything. She'll just pick anything. not lie. You just come home. And she feels on top of
The world.
This is the only time that you can use these little things to con them.
Yes.
While
As
they are
grow,
young. Yep.
they're asking for Michael Kors and
100%.
Jordan and all that.
Human hair
Which,
and
exactly.
crazy.
That one, I told her that if you're going to demand that, then you have to start working. I'm not doing that. You understand?
For the love
For the
of
love
our
of our children, I won't do it. I won't do it.
that.
Yeah.
You understand? No, because I remember my friend's daughter's birthday. She was invited, and they were going to have party. I told them that I didn't want her to go. My friend, so my daughter wants her to come. Went. They had fun. Everything was nice. I was sitting there, I'm like, oh, this is fun. It's just some not even clear thing. Because she knew the rules in my house that she won't do it till 16. And we went. And it was fun. It was beautiful. I took pictures. So from there, it was around Columbia Mall. We went to have ice cream and other things. Oh, I like this thing. It's coming from my daughter. I like this thing. Auntie, next time, let them use extension. My friend went like, oh, your mom knows you. Next time, there won't be even next time. And she knows there won't be a next time. You understand? Because you don't want to start something that you cannot fulfill. I'll start it from now. Now it is clear. It will turn to blue,
And green.
black, green.
Yellow.
Now she'll tell you, go pay 25. Me, I've not even done 25, 50. But I have to take it to salon to do your. So I will not encourage it whilst I can control. You understand? So it's really
Wow. So for the love of our children, our time is fast spent. And we are just super excited about
We're
it.
just starting.
Yes. And we hope you learn a lot because our children are the future of our lives and that is our legacy. And we just really want you to understand that for the love of your children, we need to do better. Because if we can't take care of them now, we have nothing to show for all our hard work that we are working. So I'll give our panel of guests, if they have some last minute stuff to say before we are done, we wrap up. So our time is gone, Mrs. Matilda.
Oh, well, I would say that even the Bible says, let me quote it in Chi. I'll say, me ba emo many ka enfron no batan or done it pano and no can anymore. Like let me translate it in English. Like a child, when the parent or when they are cursing you, don't feel hatred. But every parent that loves the child will correct him or her. That's what the Bible says. So when I love you, it's when I'll correct you. If I don't love you, last time I said pampering is never love. If I don't love you, then I'll pamper you and you'll be heading into ditch. But when I love you, whenever I see you are going wrong, I will correct you. So being parent or even the case out there, when your parent is correcting you, please don't think he or she hates you, but think that take the positive aspect of it. Know that your mother or your father loves you.
Amen. Thank you.
Well, I will talk about we the parents. We should also work on our weaknesses. Sometimes we overdo things. So when you do things and you think that it is not going the right direction, or maybe you are too hard on your kid, sometimes you need to sit back and assess yourself, put in different mechanisms that will work so that at the end of it, a positive result will be achieved than, putting in all the effort, which won't amount to anything.
Thank you all so much.
Let me add one thing. And also, parents, we must learn to educate ourselves. Right. We must read. Do a lot of research so that we'll be able to help our kids with a little that we shouldn't sit down. We shouldn't be lazy. That's what I will add.
Amen.
Thank you so very much. What resonated so much with me is when you talked about language. And so I would like to say to parents out there, the language that you have control over, use that with your children. So you have a firm ground to speak. Yeah. Don't be trying to speak what you cannot speak. And then they don't get it and they think you're funny. use the language that you are very confident
Confident.
of, so that as you're correcting the child, as you're loving the child, your confidence goes to them and they have confidence too. If you don't have confidence, you are actually robbing your children of confidence as well. So use a language that you are very confident with when you're teaching them or talking to them at home. Don't struggle trying to speak Spanish. Please speak what you can speak naturally. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
For the love of our children. Ke ganyo bi jibu ewie moga.
Imoga.
Kono bile aliake ganyo bi jibu.
Like I know. Thanks so much to all our viewers. We love reading your comments and your suggestions. So please keep them coming. Continue to like and share. Thanks to our producer, Elder Richard Esifi, and our technicians back there who are making us look so good on set. Thanks to our sponsors. We have Ashon Collections. We have Lean on Jesus Foundation. We have El Shaddai International Market. Thanks also to, let me give you the number for Ashon Collections. The contact number is 02435 48925 or 0276 380091.
Okay. And we also want to say thank you to our National Head Apostle Amwako, our Regional Head Apostle Semna, and of course our District Pastor, Pastor Elvis Barton. And of course, if you're part of Church of Pentecost, Washington Region, there's a leaders retreat. This is happening this Saturday here in Bidiako Temple. So please, everybody is welcome. We just want to say thank you. And of course, we have two more people. Viz Jakes also is our sponsor. So if you want us to really sponsor your program on the show, let us know. And of course, Delatech is also our sponsor. And there's going to be a training on March 7th about financial management. As the time gets close, we'll definitely let you know. So this month, we talk about love. Next month, we're going to be talking about nutrition. So please, on Tuesday, there will be a program. On Thursday, we're definitely going to start the month of March. We're talking about nutrition and our health. So until next week, thank you so much, our guest.
Eat good. Eat good.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
I'm so glad. I'm so